Hello, football fans, and welcome to 2022 in beautiful Washington, Illinois. For the season opener of high school football IHSA style, I am joined in the booth by Blake Bauer. Our production man is Alex Calhoun. Our cameraman, freshman football phenom number 49, Will Freeman. Coach Bauer, I am Eric Schermerhorn, and we are excited to be back at Babcock Field.
It's exciting to have football back on a Friday night. Last week, if you were with us, it's kind of our trial run, and it was the Inside Panther night, but tonight's the real deal, and it's exciting to get going here.
So the 2022 Panthers are on the field, and it is a brand new squad. The names are different. Burlett is no longer here. Mapson is gone. Lewis is gone. Pollitt is gone. B-Shide. You have all of these names that have to be replaced somehow, some way. Borges, Lemus, etc. Coach, let's start with the Washington offense and talk to us, if you would, about what we might expect to see here in the 2022 version.
Well, you've got one returning starter offensively, and that's Henry Warwick, number 70. He'll be playing left tackle. That's what he was playing last week, and that's a huge position on the offensive line from a standpoint of if it's a right-handed quarterback, that's your blind side. So he's going to be the leader out there. Quarterback-wise, I think we're looking at Jake Stewart, number 14, as the starter. And then from there, you might be looking running back by committee with Jack Godinez, Eli Bear, and Tyler Humphrey all getting carries, depending on short yardage and maybe even, if you're getting 3rd and 10s or if you just need to get it going. Those are the three guys you're probably looking at carrying the ball.
A young Panther squad, an inexperienced Panther squad.
Very.
Henry Warwick did start on that offensive line, but across the board, especially in the skill positions, Washington is going to look and try to find an identity, and most likely we're going to start to see that process unfold in quarter number 1.
Absolutely, and everybody, all the talk is who's the quarterback, who's going to be the quarterback. You saw it in the papers, and it was 4 different guys, but Coach Crouch said it best. The offensive line and the defensive line are going to be the teller of the season. Those guys got to block. Those guys got to get to the next level. Can the defensive line get in the backfield and disrupt the offense from the other team's offensive plays? They've got to be able to do that. It all starts up front with those lines.
These two teams squared off last year in Highland, a game that I did travel down south to go witness. It was a game that was a 30-20 victory for the Panthers. If you remember the game, it was back and forth. Highland came in, a physical football team that we had heard a lot about. Washington traveled to an unfamiliar opponent. They did come out with that 10-point victory. But now let's shift the gears and talk about Highland and their offense and experience times 11 in this case. Go ahead.
You said it. Experience is all over the place with these guys. Number 12, the quarterback, Brent Webbles, 2,408 yards passing last year, 808 rushing yards, 15 pass touchdowns, 13 rushing touchdowns, an all-state quarterback. And then you've got receiver Brody Lewis, 6 foot. And then you've also got number 11, Cade Altadonna. All those guys, those 3 guys have started for 4 years, and that is experience, and that's huge for Highland tonight.
On a football team, it is very rare to see freshmen playing at the varsity level. The physicality, the sheer size. Travis Giesking is a 325-pound lineman. Oftentimes, freshmen, they don't bode very well against big, strong men that are 17, 18 years old. Jim Warnicki is the head coach of the Highland Bulldogs, a 1998 Highland grad, a quarterback. He went on to go play D3 ball at St. Norbert College in Wisconsin. This is a man that you could tell in an interview that we conducted on Tuesday with that he really, really cherishes the football and the offensive side of the ball. What kind of offense are you expecting to see here out of Highland tonight?
Well, here's what I think. I think, you've got a quarterback that can throw it. But when you've got an offensive line, Coach, that's got 3 guys that are 300 pounds, you're going to run the ball. And, you're going to run the ball with number 26, and that's Travis Porter. Every time he's kind of behind that quarterback, maybe in the pistol or in the I formation, you should expect him to see him get the ball. And that's what you establish, the run game first when you got an offensive line like that.
Washington fans, you can watch for number 11, Cade Altadonna, 6 foot, 190-pounder. He's also a hooper during the winter. He plays for the Illinois Bears AAU team. Brody Lewis, number 1. He is their speed demon on the outside and a darn good student with a 4.4 GPA, 6 foot, 185. Webbles is the quarterback. Coach already talked about the All-Stater, a one-sport athlete, football only. You've got the 335-pound Gieseking that is a Kentucky Wesleyan-bound boy. And then that offensive line with Starwalt, Prott, Bowman, and Briggs, we'll bring them up if they're indeed making holes for Porter and Jelly in the backfield. Let's go ahead and now shift gears to the Washington defense. This is Todd Stevens' 20th year. The defensive guru, the history teacher by day and defensive guru on Friday nights. He's got a football squad on the field that is as inexperienced as we have ever seen here up in this booth.
Right, and last year, your leading tacklers in this game were E.J. Phillips and Jace Harlan. Those two guys are out. So when you're without your two linebackers right there, that linebacker is almost like the quarterback of the offensive side of the ball, point guard in basketball. Okay, they'll be replaced by number 30, Eli Pappas, number 31, Mateo Seaman, and then number 5, Eli Bear. Those guys got a big job tonight. Can they be vocal and communicate what needs to be communicated out there?
Jace Harlan is a human missile. We watched that all of last year, the senior to be out there on the football field. Harlan is out. E.J. Phillips is out. Glass half full mentality, though. You have three linebackers that can prove their worth on the field and perhaps earn something going week 1, 2, 3, and forward.
And I think these guys are ready for the challenge. They're ready to step up. You got 3 good athletes there. You got 3 good communicators. I'm excited to see what they can do on there tonight.
Washington fans, Highland is located in the Metro East area, right outside of Greater St. Louis. Abraham Lincoln has something in common with Washington Highland. He visited both of our communities. Not this year, though, Coach. That would have been probably most likely back in the 1830s, maybe the early 1840s. Highland's enrollment is about 886 students, the Mississippi Valley Conference. And like Washington, rivalries run thick in the blood of Highland football. Here in Washington, week 3, we'll be taking on our perennial rival, that is the Metamora Redbirds in week 3. For Highland, we hear on the streets that it is triad, about 10 minutes away, a local community versus another local community. I love the fact that these two teams have come together here 2 years in a row, and they're going to play some real smash-it-out football.
That's a great thing about what Coach Crouch has done over his time here at Washington. He plays the best non-conference competition that he can. You're talking about Highland, a team that returns a ton of starters. Next week they go to Kankakee. Those are 2 non-cons that are really going to get you ready for your conference slate.
Highland started off the season last year, and it was a surprise. They started off with a loss to Washington. And then the 4A Power Highland goes and gets 8A Edwardsville, took another loss. They play Marion in week 3. Suddenly now a traditional powerhouse in down south Illinois in the Mississippi Valley Conference is 0-3. They didn't fold tent. They ended up starting 1-4, and it was a victory over, at the time, an undefeated Mascoutah team that appears to really have trended them in the right direction. Today, Coach, experience versus inexperience, 886 students versus 1,500 students. What do you see right now in this game here in just a few minutes?
Well, I think you're going to see offensively from Highland, Coach, you're going to see what really trended them forward in that Mascoutah game was some motion. Right, so you're going to see them really doing a lot of pre-snap motion, and that's going to be huge tonight because is that going to get Washington's linebackers, is that going to get them off their checks? Is that going to get them off their covers? So that's going to be a big time adjustment that they're going to have to make. Washington is on the defensive side of the ball. As
this game goes, for the viewers at home, Jake Stewart, a first-year quarterback. Last year he attempted 2 passes on the entire season. What should we look for out of Jake Stewart to see exactly what he's going to bring to this team?
Well, they're going to throw the ball with Jake. They're going to let Jake throw it. They're going to get Jake out on some naked, some bootlegs. They're going to get him out so he's got the option to run or pass. But I think really what you're going to see is leader, right? I mean, we've seen this kid in basketball for 3 years, and he is a leader. He's vocal. The kids, they follow him. And I think that's what you're going to see tonight.
This Washington football team is full of multi-sport athletes. Jake Stewart leading the crew, a 3-sport athlete, starting quarterback. He is also going to be starting at defensive back tonight. So he'll be playing some real Ironman football. On the basketball court, he started last year as a point guard / 2 guard. And, of course, he was on that state-bound Final Four baseball team as a designated hitter, second baseman, and a backup shortstop to Easton Harris. So that is what we pride ourselves here at Washington. It's a beautiful thing to see all of these kids and the multi-sport athletes. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about the Washington Marching Panthers as well throughout the night. 250 members of the Marching Panthers under the direction of Lisa Parrott and, of course, Jim Tallman. A phenomenal job they do every single year.
Oh, and I see it every day during fifth hour out here. They come out and they work on their stuff, and it is great. And it's fun to hear them when we're teaching fifth hour PE.
And we are about ready to see a tradition that Mr. Herb Knobloch, the athletic director here at Washington Community High School, Herb Knobloch is going to be bringing the senior sprint to the field. And this is something that we love to watch. We'll get our cameraman, Will Freeman, to zone in here on the senior sprint as we watch the Washington senior class, who are down in the end zone right now as they sprint across the 10, the 15, the 20. Let's see if they make it up to the 50-yard line. And there are your seniors, led by some boys that we might need to get out there on the track team. However, we need to think about Lucas Pricer. He is not wearing floaties, and it is beach night tonight. There is no water anywhere near our town. There is a creek in the back of my father-in-law's house. Maybe that's where they're all running right now. But this is senior vision here. That's Mr. Knobloch letting us see that one. Coach, what kind of beach attire are you wearing today?
What a great tradition, though. Coach, how long do you know how long that's been going on? I don't know.
I don't know, but there are 3 sharks that just ran off the field as well. Hopefully none of the cheerleaders are going to be knocked out on that one. So we are just about 7 minutes away from football, and it's 2022. I thought this would be a great opportunity to go through some history, not only of just Washington, but maybe some Highland. And Coach, you know, I'm probably feeling a little bit on edge. I'm going to start asking you some questions.
I got this feeling I'm going to get tested here pretty soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to know some of these answers, you can feel free to mock Coach Bauer at home.
Because I may not know him.
So, Coach, in 18 years that Daryl Crouch has been at Washington, how many opening games has he lost? Week 1 games. What is Daryl Crouch's record in 18 years?
So he's been here for 18 years. I'm going to go with, my best guess is, I'm going to say he's lost 3 games.
Coach, you are incorrect. Daryl Crouch's record is a staggering 16-1 in Week 1. His one loss was a 24-0 loss to Sycamore in 2019, a Sycamore team that was loaded in 2019.
Yep, I remember that.
We are going to have Alex Calhoun, our production man, has just alerted us that there is going to be a moment here where the screen is going to go blank. All is going to be just fine. We're making a slight adjustment on Will Freeman's camera that is out and about in the bleachers. Thank you for your patience. This is a student-led production. Although Coach Bauer is in his 30s and I'm in my mid-40s, we couldn't do this without a couple of young pups around us making sure that computer operates and that camera is full scale and ready to go. Coach Bauer, I'm not leaving this quiz information for you. So, Coach, now we're going to go, and we're going to go all the way back. We're going to journey back to a beautiful year, 2008. And I would expect you to know at least one of these, Coach. Name the all-area defensive end in 2008 that led the Panthers to a 10-2 season.
In 2008?
Yes, Coach. Continue to stall. You're no different than a student in my history class.
I'm stalling.
Coach,
I don't know.
Highland fans might know this defensive end in 2008 from The Bachelor.
I have one guess. Colton Underwood.
That is correct. ISU band.
You just have to give
Underwood. You need clues.
You need some clues here.
Coach, I'll give you one more. And now we're going to go very contemporary here. We're going to go to 2021. That is last year's team, Coach.
If I get it wrong, do not crush me in the comments.
I will not crush you in the comments, but I can't tell you what the people at home are going to do. Coach, last year's squad featured Noah Burlett at quarterback, and the running back was none other than Thomas Borges. My question to you, how many total yards did Thomas Borges rush approximately in 2021?
I know the sheet's up there. I'm not looking.
Fans at home, he is not looking.
I am really not looking. I'm going to give you an estimate. I bet he's about 1,600.
That's darn impressive, 1,624, and that leads us now to our discussion. How does Washington replace Thomas Borges?
Well, I don't know if you replace Thomas Borges. He's a tough guy to replace. But it might, like I said, it'd be kind of that running back by committee. You might get 3 guys that can get his production, and that's not always a bad thing. If you've got 3 running backs that can play, that's fresh legs constantly throughout the game, and that's important.
So Borges is off and playing his football in the Quad Cities area. He is at Augustana. You've lost Cale Lambert to Missouri Baptist, Kay Bescheid to Missouri Baptist, Brock Skaggs to Missouri Baptist. You have Spencer Highbreeder at Lake Forest. And then, Coach, you've got Isaac Mapson at currently Parkland playing basketball. And, of course, outstanding 2-sport athlete Drew Lewis at Minnesota State. There is a lot of unknowns. And that makes this an exciting moment here in this booth. We haven't had this for 2 years. This is the first time we're going to watch a Washington Panther football team that we don't know much about them.
Yeah, and it's exciting for the kids because now they probably feel like, okay, I get to put my stamp on the program. You know, I get to put my own legacy, my own stamp on what's going to happen in 2022. And you know, those guys before them did a great job. They led them. They showed them the way, and now these guys this year have to just continue to build off of it.
So the Highland football team is under the direction of Jim Wernicke, and that quarterback from Highland, the 1998 class. He started his coaching career in the JFL ranks, a volunteer, and if you really know much about Highland, his father is a well-respected former JFL coach who is now on the sidelines with the son.
That's awesome.
Your dad joined us the other day in the weight room. What's it like being around your father when you're coaching the heck out of a ball club? Is that something that's a little abnormal, or is it good
really.
to go?
No, it's kind of cool to have him around, I think, and I would assume that, you know, they feel the same way. It's kind of neat to have your dad around and watch kind of what you're doing, and no, it's not weird at all. It's fun.
Coach Wernicke Sr. brings some one-on-one skills that he can really communicate with the kids, but his remarks tend to be that he was very old school. As for the son, Jim Wernicke, the head coach, this is his 11th year. Started off at Breeze Mater Dei. He's a U.S. history teacher, and in year number 11, he is bringing an offensive spread out, and obviously he's got a 4-year quarterback that he's got to have a ton of trust in.
Oh, anytime you have had a quarterback for 4 years, which is very rare in high school. I mean, that rarely happens. You trust that kid with everything. You know, you'll put it. If the game's on the line, he's going to make the right decision.
As a U.S. history teacher myself, as a basketball coach, I can tell you days are crowded. They're hectic. It's well worth it. It's fun. My day typically ends, though, after that open gym, after that weightlifting session in the off season.